Hello, my name is Chase Fisher, and today I will be conducting my creative critical reflection on our film opener that goes by the title Vengeance. And my candidate number is 3255, and my partners are Max Johnson and Shay Kaplan. So, to begin, I will discuss about all of the factors of filmmaking that is in our film, and then I will do a major walkthrough of the film opener and discuss all of the things that I'm mentioning now. So, the mise en scène in our film is that it is a rainy day, which kind of provides emphasis on the fact that it is gloomy, sad, and dark, and it foreshadows that something bad is going to happen. And in our film, the antagonist wears black to signify that he is evil and he is up to no good, and he is the polar opposite of the protagonist, who is wearing white, who is just a good man and a happy man living with his wife, and he doesn't deserve what is going to happen to him. And it also takes place in a public setting, which also adds suspense because no one really expects something bad like a murder to happen in a public setting. So next I will talk about the cinematography that we implemented. We used close-up shots, reaction shots, and shaky shots, and I will get into all three of these as I'm analyzing our film. So the close-up shots were meant to really, the close-up and the reaction shots were meant to really portray the actors' expressions. So we wanted to see how they were feeling and their emotions. And the shaky shots were meant to add suspense to the readers, to the audience. Next, we used editing in a couple ways. We used editing in the biggest part of the film. We implemented slow motion to emphasize the importance, and we also used editing to show the passing of time, and we edited in suspenseful music in the film. And lastly, the audio. We used non-diegetic music to add suspense, dialogue to emphasize a close relationship between the man and his wife, and dialogue to also foreshadow something bad that was going to come in the near future. So without further ado, I will get into our film opener and provide commentary on it as it plays. So it begins with the main character backing up into the parking spot, signifying that he is about to get out and meet his wife for dinner. And this is where we decided to roll the credits because there's nothing really important happening. And also a side note, Casey Ardron, her name right there, it is a bit smaller than our names, Max, Shay, and Chase, because she's not a part of our group, but we still wanted to give her credit because she was acting. She's an actor in our film. And as you can see and actually hear the wind, it is a rainy day with bad conditions. And like I mentioned before, this is a purposeful part of the mise en scène to provide a sort of gloomy effect and foreshadow that something bad is going to happen, and mixed with sadness. And it is also in a public setting, like I mentioned before, which adds the effect of suspense because no one really expects anything bad like a murder to happen in a public setting. So, like I mentioned before, as part of the mise en scène, the protagonist, which is myself, my character is wearing white to signify the positive man I am and the good man I am. And you will see shortly that the antagonist is wearing black to signify our opposite. So the man walks in, meets his wife, and she tells him through the use of dialogue and audio that she ordered food for them, the usual that they always get because it's a common place they go to as they've been married for a while, and the food is on its way.
Hello? Alright, I'm on the way.
So the point of that was to show the audience, and also he is wearing black like I previously mentioned, and we purposely showed his face for this scene because we don't want to give it away that he's kind of a bad person yet. It's just more of a intriguing type of thing to make the audience question what's going on. So he's on the phone with his boss and he said he's on the way. So his boss just gave him some type of hit, but the audience doesn't know that yet.
How was your day today?
My day was good today.
So in that scenario, the use of dialogue through audio allowed us to sort of represent their connection, like I previously mentioned. So it showed how close they were to each other and how they can just bond at a simple dinner like this. In that scenario, he just had a reaction. We filmed him having a reaction shot to something funny. So he started laughing and covered his mouth like this because whatever she showed him on the phone, he believed was funny. And that was a part of cinematography that we focused on to provide good reaction shots. So they just continued to bond at dinner, and it shows their relationship with each other. And now you see the antagonist get out of his car, and he is looking like something bad is about to happen, like he's about to do something bad.
Hello? Alright, I'm on the way.
How was your day today?
My day was good today.
It's alright. Pretty stressful at work, but besides that, it was alright.
So that camera shot on the way out of the restaurant was a follow-up shot where they followed him go out of the restaurant to show that they're leaving and the real action is about to go down because the man is waiting for them in the parking lot. And you can also hear, now you can hear the suspenseful music that I mentioned previously that we added to provide emphasis on the thrill to the audience, so they are on the edge of their seats wondering what's going to happen, because once the music starts to amp up, it is evident that something is about to go down, which in this case is the murder of his wife.
It's not coming out.
So in that scenario, we implemented a shaky camera shot to show how and this is also a common trope that is found in a lot of thriller movies, where the character goes through some type of struggle right before the bad thing happens. So in this case, he's struggling getting his keys out. We add a shaky camera to add to the cinematography and create more suspense, and something bad happens this is something bad happening, making him vulnerable right before the man comes and kills his wife, which is a common trope.
Oh my god.
Do you get it?
Yeah,
Struggles means shock.
I got you. I saw that. I saw something similar to that.
So we made that in slow motion through editing in order to really stress the loss that he just went through. So it kind of represents what is playing in his head. It's just this slow thing that he can't get out of his head. He gets pushed out of the way, and then his wife dies in front of him. His whole life, like, she meant everything to him, and that was very tragic to watch. And the slow-mo really encapsulated it as more of an effect. It made it more effective than if it would have been at regular speed. And here we also use editing to go to another clip of the man now mourning his wife. And before I play this, I would also like to discuss another common trope, is the fact that the man in this situation lost something important to him, and which drives him down a path of insanity. So this is something that is seen in movies like Joker from 2019. He lost something important to him, and then he snapped, and he just went on a killing spree, and it was the origin of the Joker. And he's a man who killed many people and lost himself because of something that he lost himself. So this is similar to that, and we wanted to follow that trope to increase our viewership.
That's like the funniest thing I've ever seen. I love those so much.
I figured.
So to end it, it was a close-up shot of the man in his face, showing his sadness, but his eager for revenge, his thirst for revenge. So it kind of foreshadows how he's going to lose himself along the way, and what is in store for the man who killed his wife. And that wraps up the film opener. So now I will discuss the technology that we used. So my partner Max, he had an iPhone 14, which was the best one we had. So we used an iPhone 14 to record everything, and we used it wide camera shots to provide the best effect for theaters. And we also used iMovie to edit, as it was a relatively simple process because it was right there, and we could just, all I had to do is move from the camera roll to the app and edit and cut how we felt necessary. So the production company we want to be produced through is Warner Brothers, because they are popular with action and thriller movies. For instance, Batman, The Dark Knight, and Blade Runner. And these are both similar to our movie Vengeance because they kind of follow one man who is out seeking revenge or just doing what he feels necessary for justice. And we believe Warner Brothers would give us the highest chance of success. And I would also like to add on to the fact that we kind of stuck with the common trope of a man losing something and then going insane over it. And this can also be seen, which I didn't say here, but in the movie Joker, that is also from Warner Brothers, the one I believe from 2019. Yes, from 2019. The Joker, he lost someone very close to him, and then it sparked, like, he sort of snapped, and he just changed completely as a man. He went on a killing spree, and it was his origin story. And we also followed that common trope that is seen in this genre today. And we just wanted to stick with that because we felt it had the highest chance of success. So that's why we have a man as our protagonist who falls to the dark side in his quest for vengeance. So our distribution plan is to release Vengeance in theaters for 45 days and then release it on HBO Max, which is owned by Warner Brothers. So we believe this would maximize our profits, and doing so would allow us to we would still be out in theaters once we release it on HBO Max, but after 45 days, really the there's a decline in the amount of purchases because once it's been 45 days, no one is really that eager to go see it in theaters anymore, or they didn't care in the first place. So these first 40 days, we maximize our profit, and then it's released online so we can make even more money. So the skills that I learned from throughout the course of the year was I got better at camera work, time management, and editing. So I'll show you an example here. As you can see here in these scenes, they're kind of disorienting when it zooms in. So when it zooms in on the actor, my friend Josh on the left, I don't know if you saw, but it kind of cut off the top of his face, which is something that we learned is not good to do because it's disorienting and it creates sort of an uneasy feeling among the audience. So we didn't do this at all in our film opening, and this was in our Sweeting product where we remade The Wolf of Wall Street. We also learned how to edit better. So for instance here,
as I'm in the mid.
Sorry, I was having technical difficulties again. For instance here,
2 martinis straight up, you know how I like them, and then 7.5 minutes later, you're gonna come out and give us 2 more.
And what can I get you?
the waiter goes from walking away or going in the act of walking away to just instantly coming back to the table and putting the notebook, which is supposed to be a menu, on the table. And this is not an effective way to edit because it's confusing and it doesn't really show what's happening accurately. And we strayed away from this in our film opener because this is something that we also learned was had a negative effect on the audience. And lastly, I gained better time management skills because over the course of the year we had to do a music video and a Sweeting product, and honestly, for both of these things, we waited until the last minute, which was, we still got it done, but it was stressful and it didn't turn out as good as we wanted it to be. So for this one, we made sure to stray away from that ideology. And that wraps up my critical creative reflection, and thank you for listening.